spent a little bit trying to figure out how to open this video with something besides "What's up, guys?" because that's how I usually do it. But I couldn't think of anything. So what's up, guys? I wanted to do a video today on deloading. What is it? Like why to do it, when to do it, how to do it, and some nutritional considerations. So what is a deload? Deload is a period of time in your training when you are lowering something. You can lower the volume of training, you can lower the intensity, you can lower the frequency, you can lower the proximity to failure, things like that. You can take out intensifiers, lots of different ways to go about doing it. So there are a few ways to set up deloads or strategically plan for them. One is to just build them into the program. So you have phases where you're overreaching and then follow with a deload. And then the theory there is that your body recovers and comes back even stronger and you're ready to start pushing, again, at a moderate volume level or whatever it is that you're manipulating. And so you can build those right into your program. If you have a certain block you're doing, whether it's a strength phase or if you're getting ready for a powerlifting meet or some other event you're in which you're going to have to perform, then you can set up a deload right before the event so that for the event you're really strong or really fresh, those type of things. So you can build those into a program specifically, even within a bodybuilding cycle. If you're in an off season, and you're pushing, and then, okay, after X number of weeks, we're going to have a deload, and then we'll go to a new plan, or we'll, start fresh with some numbers or whatever that looks like. So you can build them right into your program and have them already set up. And like I said, that's works especially well with programs that are designed for some type of performance event, whether that's powerlifting or whatever. So that's one way to do it. Another way to do it is based on biofeedback. So this is the way that I like to do it. I don't like to build deloads into programs in advance because you don't know how someone's going to feel, what's going to be going on in their lives, how's their body responding, things like that. So if you build the deload into a program in advance, you might miss out on some opportunities for progress. For example, somebody, you put someone on an 8-week training program or block or whatever, and you set up for, a deload on the 9th week or even on like the 6th week or whatever. Well, let's say we get to that 6th week and somebody's feeling fresh, they just completed some sort of job contract or something, and so now they're getting a little extra sleep. Well, that's not going to be the time that I want to pull back on training. I want to push because we're going to have more resources available for recovery as far as sleep and time and, stress is low and things like that. And on the other side of that, maybe we get into week 5 of this program, they're feeling beat up. They've got a thing at work that's going on. They're traveling. I've got some people that's kind of the situation for. And so it would make more sense to put that in, week 5, but maybe we don't find that out until week 4. And they let me know at a check-in or whatever, hey, this is going on. This is how I'm feeling. Okay, well, then let's go ahead and deload, right? So that is the reason that I like to do them based on biofeedback. And that's why check-ins are so important. And this is kind of the main reason I'm coming on here to do this video, because I have had a couple of clients recently that I've had this discussion with, and, some were really good about letting me know about what they were feeling and doing, and some weren't. And so the important thing is to make sure that everyone understands, for me specifically, and, whoever you're working with as a coach, the reason they collect the data that they do is to know, when it's time to deload, when it's time to do different things, whether it's add food or take away this or that or whatever. So if you're doing deloads based on feel and based on biofeedback, it's really important that your coach is aware of what's going on with you. And so that's why, as coaches, we ask for these metrics from you each week or however frequently we're checking in. And it's important that you're honest and that you are open about what's going on. A good coach isn't going to judge you if you say, hey, I'm tired, or hey, my motivation's gone, right? Because I'll talk about overtraining here in a minute. But that's one of the symptoms. So if you feel like, you don't want to train, normally you love training, but like all of a sudden you you're not looking forward to the gym. You kind of dread it. And when you get there, you sort of sit in the car a while and, talk yourself into going or whatever that looks like. Those are signs that you might need a deload. And I'll just go ahead and get into some of that right now. This is going to be sort of a weird flowing video. But so if you notice in your training, and again, assuming that you actually do like training and you like making progress and getting results and stuff, and you're not just doing this because you want to look a certain way, and you just endure training and whatever. If you feel like you don't want to be there or you don't look forward to it, like you normally would, or you, even signs of like depression, if you don't feel, motivated to get out of bed, or you start having some, sad thoughts, or, whatever that looks like, some of those signs can be overtraining. It could be just as simple as, needing to back off for a little bit or adjust training volume at that point. But again, it's important that the coach knows what's going on with you and how you're feeling, etc. So some of those symptoms, like I said, it's going to be a lot like depression. You're going to feel sad or down or bummed out or whatever however you want to phrase that. And it could just be that you need to take a deload. And so, like I said, that's why I do it on a feel basis and on a performance basis. That's the other thing too. If you notice in the gym that your progress is kind of stalled, you're not getting stronger, you're not feeling good connections, your pumps aren't very good, things like that, then that's probably another sign that you need to back off for a minute and give your body a little bit of a break so that you can almost rubber band into that next phase or back into your normal training program. If you're having trouble getting sleep, if you've got some stressful situations and you're also having a hard time focusing on training or giving it everything that you have, then that might be a good opportunity to give your body a little bit of a break. And then once that, hopefully very brief, 7 to 10 day period of life stress is dwindled down, then you can dive back into, a hard training block and your normal, schedule training, variables, intensity, frequency, volume, all that. So again, like I said, the way that I do them, it's based on the feedback I get. So it's important that, if you're my client watching this, please know I'm not here to judge you or yell at you or be upset with you or anything. If you tell me, really anything, it's just my job to adjust things accordingly. So if you are feeling some of those things, you're my client, please let me know. And if you have a coach, they're probably wanting to hear, those things as well, if they're a good coach. And so those are the thoughts there as far as the planning, the deloads, or when to implement them. Now, what are they? Like I said, you can lower different variables. What I will like to do a lot of times with my clients, because it simplifies things a good bit, is I will literally just subtract a set from every movement in the gym. So if they're doing 3 sets of 12 to 15 or, top set, back off set, or whatever that looks like, then I will actually just remove one of those sets. So maybe we're just doing a top set. If we're having some joint pain, we might just do the back off set. So it's a little bit lighter, but you're still getting, some good work in. But the volume of training is significantly lower because you're cutting it in half, essentially. Or not in half, it's in half if it's 2 sets of things. But, in total, you're going to be cutting it down a good bit if you take a set off of everything. If there's some sort of a injury consideration, somebody's feeling beat up or whatever, then we might just... What I might have them do is lower the weight on everything they're doing, and then they'll do more reps to get, still close to failure, but it'll be more at a lighter weight. So you're getting a little bit more of the metabolic adaptations to training versus the mechanical tension. There's still mechanical tension, but it's not going to be the same as if you're lifting, as heavy as you can for an 8 to 12 or or even like a 6 to 10 or whatever. So I will lower the weight that they're lifting, the load, and then increase the reps to give, a little bit of a break to the joints and things like that. So that is one way to do it as well. Another way that you can do it, there's a million ways you can do this. And ultimately, the important thing is just that you lower something to give your body a break. So you can, if you're training 5 days a week, for that week, you can take an extra day off. Maybe maybe you add a consecutive rest day. And so you got a 2-day off deload. It's a very short deload and probably isn't enough for most people, feeling these things, but it could be. So maybe you add in, or maybe somebody's on a 5-day split and they got the weekends off, you give them a Friday off, then there's 3 days off in a row, and that's probably going to be pretty good. So again, it's just based on experience and how they're feeling and the feedback. So it's important even throughout and after the deload to let your coach know how you felt, how you're feeling, what's going on, all that kind of stuff. So those are a couple ways you can do that. You can, maybe take out compound movements, right? Only do isolation movements, give the joints a break. or maybe you just take a week off training. I've had some times where I just took several days off training, and you come back and you're feeling fresh and all that, and that's fine. Or you replace some training days with active rest days, whether that's some stretching or mobility or getting body work done or massage, things like that, whatever chiropractors, if that's your thing, whatever that looks like. Maybe you take those days that you would have trained and you rest your muscles, but then you go, and take care of some other things like mobility and inflammation or whatever. So that's another way you can do it, is just take some time off, completely, but then also take care of some other things. And sometimes with the way lives are set up, we're not all professional bodybuilders. Sometimes you might just need to take off and focus on work, for a week, or get your house cleaned up, or if you've got a family member that's sick, you go take care of them, or you go see them, or, whatever that looks like. So it's all part of the grand scheme of progress. And so there's a lot of different ways you can do that. And that was very that was not a complete list of the ways you can do that, but it was just a couple of examples, or a few examples. So something else you can do, or something else to consider, is nutrition throughout this process. You probably don't want to use this time to cut calories down. Now, when I talk about deloads here in this sense, I'm not talking about a contest prep, because there are strategies to manage fatigue in a contest prep that are related to deloads or include deloads. But what I'm talking about now is like off-season push phases, maintenance phases, whatever, when you're not in a specific fat loss phase, because there are additional considerations with the fat loss phase, as far as nutrition or cardio or things like that. But I'm just talking about when you're trying to progress and grow muscle, these are the things to consider. So nutrition wise, unless you're right on the verge of putting on body fat with your maintenance calories that you're in, or you're really pushing food up, and if you don't train, you might get fat, which is rare, because, most people aren't eating at the cusp of that, or at least not pushing that. You probably want to keep nutrition, kind of where it's at when you're on your training days, because that extra nutrition, it becomes extra now because you're not using it for, to fuel training. Now it can actually be, put toward recovery, by your body, or energy toward whatever task you're dealing with, if it's a work thing or whatever. So I wouldn't recommend matching your nutrition intake to your training output at this point for this week or period of deload. Because if you take away some of those nutrients that you're taking in, then that recovery might not happen as quickly or how you want it to in that deload phase. So the point of that is just, don't try not. I wouldn't recommend using a deload as a fat loss phase, because you don't need the calories to train, because you do still need the calories to recover. And so I would give your body the fuel to do that. And I wouldn't recommend using a lot of processed food, junk food, inflammatory things that you might eat, candy and whatever. I wouldn't use calories for that, anytime really, above just maybe a little bit here and there, but especially not, at high amounts during a deload phase, because you do want those, good micronutrients and things, to help with recovery as well as the macros that come from, any foods that you eat. So that is my recommendation with nutrition. Use the nutrition portion to help with the recovery in this deload phase and prepare you to begin pushing again, once it's time to do that after the deload. As far as anabolics go, I'll just kind of touch on this briefly. You probably don't want to adjust anabolics much during a deload phase. Again, same thing with nutrition. You're still trying to recover. You're still trying to, repair tissue and prepare to start pushing again in that phase. And so if you're on a certain level of anabolics, you don't want to lower that just because you're not training as hard, because the whole point of the deload is to, recover and give yourself that time to do so that you can push hard again, after that brief period of backing off. So hopefully in summary of all this, hopefully the takeaway here is, deloads are important. There's no shame in taking them. Most people need them, relatively regularly. Again, you can set them up, within a plan, depending on, how everything's set up, how your schedule looks and events that you have, etc. So you can set those up in advance. Like I said, I like to do them based on biofeedback. And so the important thing to take away from this is to communicate with your coach, let them know where you're at, what's going on. If they have some sort of check-in template or process, be thorough with the information that you give them, and that way they can make the best decisions possible to keep progress moving and keep you safe and healthy, and keep you moving forward. So if you guys have questions, comments, anything like that, please put them below. And if you think of anything else you'd like me to talk about on here, let me know. But thanks again for tuning in. Talk next time.